Hi, I'm Isabel. Welcome to Meet Me at the Corner. I'm in Park Slope in Brooklyn, which is one of the 5 boroughs in New York City. Park Slope is known for its writers and artists. For instance, just down the street from me lives a writer you may know, Jacqueline Woodson. Many of her award-winning books take place right here in Brooklyn. Today we're going to stop by and talk to Jacqueline about her writing and life here in Brooklyn. What were you like as a kid?
I think I was tall, and I got into trouble a lot for talking, and I think I was introspective. I think I thought and watched the world a lot and tried to figure stuff out.
When you write, what comes first, the story or the characters?
First comes always the characters. I have a character in my head, and then I start writing down whatever they're saying or whatever I'm thinking about what they're saying, and then later on, someplace probably halfway into the book, I have to ask myself, what is the story trying to say? I never ask myself, what is this story about, because I never know. I wait for the readers to tell me that, but I do say, what is this story trying to say, and how is it trying to say it? But always the characters.
Will you describe how you spend your day?
I have a couple of different ways of how I spend my day. If I'm writing, then I try to get up, get the kids out of the house, and get down to my office by 9 o'clock, and then I'm writing, I'm working on new ideas, or I'm answering fan mail, or I'm rewriting, or I'm reading somebody else's work who's published and who's teaching me more about writing. If I'm traveling, then I'm talking about writing, and that day is really different. Either I'm going into schools or giving lectures or doing signings, and those aren't super writing days because I'm talking about writing rather than writing. But those are the days where I have learned that I can write on planes and trains and in taxi cabs.
Do you have some advice for kids who would like to be writers?
I think young people who are aspiring to be writers should first call themselves writers. And I think once you identify as the thing you're becoming, you're on your way, you're halfway there. And I think it's important to write every day. I think it's important to read. I think you can't be a writer if you're not reading, because so much of what you learn about writing, you learn from reading. And if you're writing poetry, you have to be reading poetry. If you're writing fantasy, you have to be reading fantasy. And I think even if you're just writing 15 minutes a day, it's writing. It's some writing every day.
Could you tell us about the book that you're working on now?
I can't tell you about the book I'm working on now because I don't like to talk about novels when they're still really new in my head. But I can tell you about the play, which is a play for a place called the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. And it's rewriting my novel, Locomotion. And I'm making it into a play that's going to be there in 2010, hopefully, if I get it finished in time.
What is the most interesting question you've ever been asked?
You know, I think that's a really good question because there are a bunch of questions that I get asked all the time. You know, where do you get your ideas? How do you, do you write on your computer? Do you write in a notebook? But every time I get asked that really interesting question, I'm always stopping and going, wow, that's a really interesting question, but I don't remember them.
Do you have an author who lives in your town? Make a video and send it to us. The instructions are on our website. That's it from my corner of the world. See you next time.